Greetings and salutations. This is the voice of Loquacious of Herd, bringing you his afterthoughts on My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, Season 8, Episode 3, titled The Maude Couple. I heartily suggest that you find and watch the episode itself, sans commentary, before proceeding with either this Spoken Herd Afterthoughts review or viewing my full reaction, which is hosted at the link in the description. Please support the official release. Be warned, this Afterthoughts review will contain spoilers for the episode. With that out of the way, on to the review. Since Season 6, there's been something of a trend to have an episode featuring Maude Pie early in the season, and here it is, right on schedule. We open with Maude doing a stand-up comedy routine. We've seen her dry, almost expressionless witticisms rock the house before, so how's it going for her now?
My favorite thing to listen to is classic rock. The accumulation of sediments over millennia forming to create sandstone, shale, and breccia. It sounds something like this. And that's my time.
Isn't my sister Maude the most hilarious, entertaining, amazing comedian ever?
Yeah, Maude bombed. And Pinkie's oblivious. Also, I do like the reference to clastic rocks, a type of rock composed of fragments of pre-existing minerals and...
Now get on with it.
Get on with it.
Yes, get on with it!
and I'll let you Google it, dear viewer, if you are at all interested in geology. Anyway, having made the point that Maude is, well, Maude, she's awesome, of course, but she's also got a number of idiosyncrasies which give her a very non-traditional, reserved to the point of expressionlessness demeanor, and that makes her strange and a little off-putting to ponies who don't know her or get her as well as her younger sister. But the conflict isn't that Maude is having issues with being appreciated as a dry wit. No, after the new intro, we are introduced to the conflict. Oh right, new intro. There's some pros and cons with it for me. I like that they kept the music, and the general structure of the intro. Twilight arriving, views of various background and secondary ponies doing their thing, shots of important locations, a pan through each of the main six engaged in some important aspect of their life and character, and then all of them together and a closing group shot sent to the princesses. In particular, I liked how with each of the main six, the glimpse of their lives highlighted how far they have come in their own journeys. I also loved the updated throne room taken from the movie and the addition of all the alicorns. It was a big update, and I'm still adjusting to it. Parts of it feel less polished, and, I don't know, the flow of some of the visuals seems a little off to me. It's a very new thing, and in some ways I find it breaks the feeling of series continuity, that each MLP episode and season is part of a seamless, larger whole. While not entirely unpleasant, it is definitely unexpected. How unexpected? I'd say it's rather like going to see a new Star Wars movie, having the screen fade to a starscape, having the classic score by John Williams start up, but instead of the timeless Star Wars title, followed by scrolling text outlining the recent events, instead, this proverbial movie leapt to a flow of black and white flashback-style images with voiceover narration taking the place of the traditional and expected text crawl. It would be a change, it would be different. I don't know that it'd really feel like the start of a Star Wars movie, though, or if it would feel like this theoretical Star Wars movie really fit in with all the others. So yeah, this new intro? Not bad. But my first reaction is that it makes it feel like this season is less part of the overall show as a whole and more of a standalone, new thing, a break, existing separately from the rest of the show's ponyverse. And while this probably isn't the intention, that is the result. Then again, they are trying to do some new things this season. The whole school deal is a big shift for the pony characters. Having progressed through various sorts of self-discovery to something like a mastery and self-actualization, the main six are now transitioning to mentors and teachers for those who are only just beginning their own journeys into and through adult life. In some ways, this season may well serve as a departure from previous seasons, starting the winding up of this generation of pony and beginning preparations for transitioning to a new generation. So maybe the new introduction's feeling of more drastically disconnecting Season 8 from previous seasons rather than integrating it is more intentional than I initially thought. But back to the conflict.
Actually, I'm busy tonight.
Aw, that's what you said yesterday. And the day before that. And the day before the day before that. It's just, we haven't hung out in a really long time because you always have other plans, even when you promised to build whipped cream pyramids with me.
Ah, so Maude has been uncommonly busy with something, and it's been keeping the two sisters from spending quality time together. Does Maude have an explanation for this?
I know. I am sorry, Pinkie. The reason is I have a...
Apology accepted. As long as we get some serious sister time before your birthday. And there's definitely no reason I want to hang out before your birthday. Just, not planning anything special.
Way to cut off the explanation there, Pinkie. Also, Maude party coming up. I'm sure it'll rock. But on to the following morning. No Maude. And Pinkie's hide-and-seek style search bears no fruit. Even with the assistance of Derpy, whose flank is pressed into service as a traveling "Have you seen this pony?" billboard.
Found you! Where's Maude? I've already checked Discourse Dimension, Granny Smith's Wax Museum, and Yatakistan! She has to be here!
Nope, it's just me. Reading.
Starlight offers to take over Maude hunting duty so Pinkie can go take care of ingredient gathering for the upcoming birthday cake extravaganza. But today clearly isn't Pinkie's day. Her trip to the store leads to an encounter with a real stick in the mud, specifically Mud Briar, whose own lack of social awareness and poor pony skills means that by the time he's done saying goodbye and Pinkie's shuffled him out of the way, the shop's closed for lunch. But this delay does mean that Pinkie runs into Maude.
Want to hang out right now? I mean, I can see you're not doing anything with any pony else. Unless they're invisible or really small.
Pinkie, the reason I've been so busy is that I have a boyfriend now.
Oh no, Pony!
Mudbriar, are you back there?
Technically, not anymore.
Oh yes, Pony! Maude and Mudbriar are in like. I approve. Pinkie Pie? Less so. And here's the conflict. A revisiting of the conflict and the lesson in the 4th season episode Maude Pie, only this time Pinkie's cast in the role of pony who can't connect with a friend of a friend. I like this particular dynamic. I also like the dynamic between Maude and Mudbriar. They do go very nicely together as a couple, and it's clear that not only does each make the other happy, but that each likes and respects the other. For a newly dating relationship, this is a good thing. Again, I approve. And again, Pinkie doesn't.
I don't get this guy!
Wow, Maude has a boyfriend?
How could she like someone so weird?
And here's the part where Pinkie, through long association and deep love she has for her sister, is more than a little blind to how Maude is perceived by others, which is, of course, exactly as Pinkie is currently seeing Mudbriar. Starlight, though, has a good perspective on things, as is often the case. She can see from Pinkie's descriptions how Maude and Mud could well have very similar elements to their personalities, elements that could well serve to help them build a relationship.
He has an inanimate object for a pet!
So does Maude.
Boulder has 10 times the personality of some random stick. Mudbriar, too, for that matter. He's not like Maude at all! Maude is hilarious, friendly, caring, and easy to talk to.
Yep, that's Maude.
But this guy is awkward, quiet, and kind of strange.
That also sounds like Maude.
Well, time to give it another chance. Pinkie goes off with Mudbriar to plan Maude's birthday party, while Starlight keeps Maude distracted. The party planning goes poorly. Pinkie lays out her plans, things she thinks Maude will like, but then...
I have a vision board of everything Maude loves, and none of those things are on it.
Let me see this vision board.
It's not a physical thing. I'm envisioning it. Now I enter through the large door of my mind palace and enter to the back where I have all of my books and possessions, and what do I encounter? The Maude room. None of those things are there. Just as I thought, Maude doesn't like surprises.
Ooh, snap. Also, the whole Mind Palace thing is quite amusing to me. While most folks will immediately associate it with Sherlock Holmes, who does use this method of memory enhancement, especially in the BBC series, in the stories he refers to his mind as an attic. The method of Locai's special visualization techniques is a much, much older thing than Holmes. The Memory Palace style method is mentioned in ancient Roman and Greek sources and has been used for several thousand years. It was, according to legend, invented by Simonides of Chios, a Greek lyric poet, when he found himself, assisting with a rather messy forensic matter. But moving right along. No surprises?
Where does it say that? She never told me that!
It sounds like she was protecting your feelings. She's very caring that way.
Stop acting like you know my sister better than me!
Technically, I never said that.
While true that Mudbriar never said that specifically, what he did say, along with his tone and manner, absolutely implies that. Which gets right to the point of Pinkie's problems with Mudbriar. Mudbriar, like Maude, has an uncommon method of social interaction. He apparently is unable to express himself in accordance with the standard social mores, nor does he react in any sort of common or expected way to the usual social cues. While there's nothing innately wrong with his unique method of interaction, by breaking with convention as he constantly does, Mudbriar comes across as rude and insensitive at best. Haughty, condescending, or just clueless. It's exactly the same sort of off-putting coldness that had Pinkie's friends among the main six in similar difficulties when trying to relate to Maude herself. Whether or not it was intended, challenge has been issued and accepted, so it's off to talk to Maude about her feelings on surprise parties. This day really isn't going well.
Huh. You must be Mudbriar. I'm Starlight Glimmer. Nice to meet you. I've heard great things. I'm so glad the two of you are spending time together. So, how's it going?
Mudbriar and I have just spent the best time bonding, and we're really starting to make some headway becoming besties, except for one teensy-weensy disagreement that maybe you could settle, Maude. See, Mudbriar here seems to think that you don't like surprise parties. Isn't it funny how wrong he is?
I like surprise parties. Because I know they make you happy when you throw them for me.
See? Wait, what?
Yeah, Pinkie's got a few blind spots. Always has. Maude loves her sisters, and she likes Mudbriar. He makes her happy. They share a very similar sort of social awkwardness, a lack of conformity, an inability or uninterest in engaging in small talk or social pleasantries. And Pinkie overreacts, again. Oh, it's clear that Pinkie's in the wrong, but it's easy for me to see how she would feel the way she does, and why. What's more, Mudbriar is either unwilling, or, more likely, entirely unable to express himself in a way that would help build a bridge between him and Pinkie. Consider, throughout this episode, Pinkie has consistently reached out to Mudbriar to try to befriend him, and he has rebuffed her. His cold, analytical, excessively accurate, and technical replies delivered in a fashion that is entirely devoid of anything most would recognize as friendliness. She stretches forth the proverbial hoof only for him to verbally smack it away. You'd think that after a lifetime of dealing with Maude, Pinkie would be adept at reading ponies who share Maude's inexpressive demeanor, but clearly Pinkie isn't. She can read Maude because she's Maude's sister. She's had all her life to get to know Maude and to learn to read the subtle indications of Maude's feelings and attitude. Indeed, it's been made clear that Pinkie doesn't see Maude at all like others see her. Where other ponies see failed stand-up, Pinkie sees wickedly sharp humor. Where Starlight sees Maude's quiet, awkward strangeness, Pinkie sees only her sister. She doesn't see anything quiet or awkward or strange about Maude at all. To an outside party, Maude and Mudbriar are very much alike. so we think Pinkie should be able to read him as easily as she does her sister, but she can't. Also, to an outside party, it's pretty clear that Mudbriar doesn't mean to be rude, or unfriendly, or dismissive. He's just him. Indeed, there are more than a few hints that he's trying his best to connect with Pinkie, that he does want to be friends. He's just unable to express it in a manner that Pinkie can understand. In short, a drastic breakdown of communication exists between Pinkie and Mud. But now, with Maude expressing her wish to incorporate a new friend, a boyfriend, into her life, a boyfriend who has, by his attitude and his means of expression, managed to do nothing but push Pinkie away, Pinkie's had more than she can take and flees home to the rock farm.
You're probably wondering why I came back to the family farm in the middle of the night. Well, it all started when...
Less talking, more farming.
It's just, Maude has a boyfriend.
I'm not jealous. Who said anything about jealous?
Gotta say, I love the little touches with Limestone's character, and I love seeing how Quiet Marble, Pinkie Pie's younger twin sister, uses nothing but a glare and a shake of her head to manhandle the gruff Limestone into playing nice and helping out. Really, all of the Pie sisters are neat characters. I'm glad to see more of them. Anyway, the sisters have a way to explain the situation to Pinkie.
It's a metaphor, Pinkie. You see Mudbriar as a rock, but Maude sees him as a gem. Even if you never see past his dullness, you can see how happy he makes Maude. And to his sister, that's all that matters.
And now Pinkie Pie finally gets it. She can see the mistakes she's been making in trying to relate to Mudbriar like she would any other pony. Mudbriar isn't like other ponies. He's like Mudbriar. So Pinkie brings a peace offering.
I brought you an olive branch to say sorry. I was really unfair to you, and I'm ready to listen to your ideas for Maude's birthday. If you still want to plan it together.
Technically, this isn't even an olive branch. It's a quercus, most likely Castiniifolia.
Oh, come on!
Add this to the list of episodes that went, oh, come on! So is this latest attempt at offering up her friendship going to end in yet another rebuff?
Sorry, keeping it together.
And I love a good quercus. Friends?
Friends! Now, do you have any ideas for the party?
There is one.
And there we have it. Pinkie and Mudbriar have begun a friendship. While he may be a stick in the mud, he's not a bad pony, and he's such a good match for Maude. It's amazing to see Maude so expressive, so many smiles. Further, when we see Mudbriar interacting with ponies other than Maude, it appears that smiles are just as rare for him as well. Yep, shipping approved. Those two look quite good for one another. And as for the party, well, with Mudbriar's help, it turns out better than ever.
This is my favorite party ever.
It was all your amazing boyfriend's idea. He said the best present would be me throwing you a surprise party you didn't have to go to.
Technically, it wasn't a surprise because she could see the pre-party preparations from up here.
Technically, you're right.
Technicalities aside, this was a pleasant episode. The conflict and drama felt quite real, and I could see where the various parties were coming from, and how, as is often the case, problems with communication were the real villain here. What is more, considering that Mudbriar is the character being newly introduced, I very much approve of Pinkie Pie being the pony in the wrong throughout this episode. Not because I like it when Pinkie Pie is in the wrong, but because, given our long exposure to Pinkie and her foibles, it's much easier for us to forgive her for being an ass. No offense intended to the donkey community. If our first exposure to Mudbriar were him being a similar sort of, well, if he had been the pony in the wrong, I think it would have been much harder to walk away from this episode with a positive impression of him, and it's clear that we're intended to find his and Maude's relationship a joyful and good thing. If you wish to see my full reaction to My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, Season 8, Episode 3, titled The Maude Couple, the link, as I mentioned earlier, is in the description. Feel free to leave any comments or likes for that reaction here on this Afterthoughts review. And until next time, as always, kindly remember, y'all are awesome. Stay awesome.